You can do this online, which is great, and we'll go through some of that later, because there's a few extra bits online that you don't get in paper as well, so that's really worth looking at. And the online versions you can type into, where there's an activity, like here we are, where you've got an activity like this, you can actually type in, although it's a PDF file, you can type into the activities. So that's really good. I have seen centres photocopy this, but most learners, I would say, particularly younger learners, are more comfortable typing than they are writing now. So you can encourage them. They can download. It downloads per visit, if you like. Okay, so you can download chunks. You don't have to download the whole lot. What is important is that they save as and save it on their main computer before they start typing into it, because this is generic, and if they just download and type into it, when they close the window, they'll lose everything. What happens once you've registered your candidates, okay, you'll need one of these, but at the bottom here you've got a username and a password. Okay, every sector has got its own, every sector and every level has got the same username and password, so they're universal. Okay, so once you've got that username and password, then you can download it as many times as you like. BTEC assessment workbooks are available online. You will find the details on the second page in of all of the workbooks, and you will find the website from where to download the workbook. You will also find the unique username and password for the sector in which you wish to download. We're going to start with the learner version of the assessment workbook, taking the website address, username and password from the second page in from the assessment workbook paper version. And once we've logged in, across the left-hand side where it says Home, Frequently Asked Questions, we now have Customer Service Level 2. So if we click on that page, you will see visits 1 to 5, which replicate exactly the visits that you will find in the paper version of the workbook. If we click on one of those visits, so if we click on Visit 1, you will see some more unit titles come up, and those replicate exactly what you would find if you were to go straight into the workbook. Here is the electronic version of that, and as the learner scrolls down, you will see, as well as the text, there will be some parts where the learner has to complete the workbook. Okay, so the learner can type straight into the web page, into the workbook, completing the whole of that activity online. The benefits of doing this is that the learner can then save the document, which is really important. They go along to a file, save as they would normally, and they save the file, the whole file, onto their desktop, and then they have the flexibility of being able to email that part of the workbook to their assessor for assessment, or they can upload it into an electronic portfolio. Another important part of the electronic version of the workbook is the functional skills. The learner will find that there's some practice materials for English and also for maths, and if they click on that link, what will come up is an electronic version of a workbook that they can go through, helping them to understand the functional skills and working through that. There are also some BTEC practice quizzes on the electronic version, and this is based on the mandatory units for the technical certificates, which are the BTECs. So each of these are small quizzes available to the learner to download, and there's some drag and drop exercises where they can practice their skills and their knowledge in understanding technical parts of the technical certificate. These practice quizzes, once they're on the screen, can be screenshot, or they can actually be printed off by the learner, whether the learner's working with a paper-based portfolio or an electronic portfolio. In summary, the digital version of the workbook supports learners typing instead of writing, printed evidence for paper portfolios, digital evidence for the electronic portfolios, and remote assessment via email. Also, don't forget the additional content available in the assessor version. The The assessor version of the BTEC Apprenticeship Assessment Workbooks are available to download from the delivery guides that you will have for each sector. You will find the passwords and the login details on the last page of the delivery guide. Because there's only one delivery guide per sector, you will find the login and the password for level 2, and if there is a level 3, the login and password for level 3. I'm now going to talk about the assessor version of the workbook, taking the website page, the username and the password from the back of the delivery guide. Once logged in, click on the workbook title, and that will take us to another page which lists everything available within the assessor version. One of the differences with the assessor version is the introduction chapter. Once clicked on that introduction chapter, you will see under tracking documents there is an holistic document, mapping document available to the assessor. And what this document does is list all the interventions within the workbook and also the qualifications against each of those interventions. The benefit of the holistic map is that it allows the assessor to see instantly which part of the framework is covered by which part of the workbook. So they can see whether it's the BTEC technical certificate, whether it's the MVQ, whether it's the personal learning thinking skills, or whether it's the work skills / ERR, and where that is covered within the workbook. Also in the introduction chapter, at the bottom, there are templates that the assessor can use for professional discussion, observation, expert witness, and also personal statements. Those templates assist the assessor in being able to record exactly what they are assessing at the time, whether it's any of those assessment methods. For every observation and professional discussion within the workbooks, there is also a populated template that the assessor can use, and is populated with the assessment criteria of every part of the framework that is covered within that particular observation or professional discussion. These populated templates can be found in the actual visit chapters for the workbook. The functional skills support for the assessor includes, as well as the practice materials, also includes the mark scheme for the English and the maths.